In the tropics this morning, I am actually nude from the waist down. That's sick, isn't it? That is sick. If you could only see how I was positioned right now. Shall I show you? No, I'm wearing a pair of tennis shorts, but God, it's sweaty. It's sweaty out there. So, with that introduction, boys, let's start the live. I'm Joseph, aka Wingbro. For those of you who are unfamiliar with my channel, here I discuss all things dating, cold approach, seduction, relationship oriented, and international living and international lifestyle. So I'm currently living in the Dominican Republic, Santiago de los Caballeros, the northern DR. It's the second city of the DR. Nobody knows about this city. Barely anyone knows much about the DR anyway. So I'm in this very secluded tropical paradise. I've spent the last 5 years traveling around the world. I've lived all over the place. I've met beautiful women from all over the place. I see these two things as something that go together: lifestyle and seduction and approach. So I've met women in, well, places I've lived would be UK, obviously, Spain, France, Italy, Romania, North Macedonia, legends, Serbia, Bosnia, Turkey, Greece, Brazil, Portugal, and the Dominican Republic. Those would be the places I've lived in, and then traveled to a bunch of other places as well. So I've lived this international life for a long time. Started when I was 21, I'm now 40 years old. It's been the meaning of my life to just explore what is out there in the world. And as you go through your life, obviously as a man you're interacting with women, and it's just very interesting to date in these different places. And whenever I've been back in the UK, I'd actually take a lot of interest in dating foreign girls as well, because I often want to find out about their country and basically see if I want to go, see what the sample is saying in the UK. But I've been on the road now for 5 years, and in the last, I'd say the last couple of years, I've integrated daytime cold approach into my seduction skills, into my seduction arsenal. So before that, I was more of a nighttime guy. I still am really more of a nighttime guy, but I was exclusively really a nighttime guy. So I was a club promoter for 4 years as well when I was in the UK. So I know that scene really well. And I found in my late 30s that I didn't want to be dependent on clubs just to strike up, conversations, relationships, sex with women. I didn't want to just depend on clubs for that. And this is how I came into the world of cold approach. I started, my first approaches I ever did were out here in the Dominican in 2021. First daytime approaches I ever did. I remember the first one like it was yesterday. I think the first one ever was an absolutely brutal blowout by a Haitian girl in front of a load of people. She almost cursed me out, this girl. I think I'd seen something online where it's like, in the daytime, ask the girl if you can talk to her. So that's what I did. And she said, no, something like, no, get lost. But it was like in front of all my friends as well. So I was like, okay, great. That obviously didn't work. The next one I did was a 2-set mother-daughter, and actually closed it. And it was a bit of a nightmare set. The girl was on the phone and she's with her mom, but I still closed her. And the feeling of that first close, I walked into a cafe afterwards, I sat down, and I've never done drugs, I've never done cocaine or anything like that. Despite being a club promoter, I actually live very clean. But the feeling, I can imagine, it's probably something like what your first dose of cocaine feels like. It was an unbelievable feeling. I felt like so many hormones, so much excitement. It really felt like something in my DNA had just been unlocked. I'd thrown caution to the wind and gone, fuck it, she's fit. Excuse me, like shouted across the road for this girl. And she came over because she was crossing anyway. Chatted to her for a little bit. She's on the phone. And I talked to her mum for a little bit and then get her number. And she's a big tall girl. I'm 5'7". She's about 5'11" maybe, this girl. So it's a pretty gangster first approach, right? So So that was my first introduction to daytime approach. I realized as I traveled more, I needed some training in it because there's more to it than just shouting across the road. You need some proficiency. So I went to train with someone who is basically an expert in it, and formed, along with a group of other guys, along with a group of the other best guys, basically a mastermind. So we've been trading notes over the last 2 years. So I've been adding this fine art of daytime approach into my arsenal, and I've now got it down to a really refined art, along with a few of those other guys as well. And yeah, I've just been practicing that all over the world. So with that said, that's my introduction. That's the experience I'm coming from. As I say, I'm 40 years old, and I did my first ever approach at 15, which is 25 years ago. So I've been around this a long time, and I've honestly tried most things. I've tried most things in this space because I realized, I would say around about my early 20s, that I didn't quite get women. I just didn't quite get it with them. You know, some women, a small subset. Actually, I got on well with women who'd been raised in quite male environments. By the way, I think they're the best women, to be honest. I think that the civilizing force of a really strong father is very good for women. But I got on well with those girls. But I just, in general, I just didn't know how to approach. I didn't have a clue about clubs. I didn't know what was going on. Like, what are these lights, the noise? I was just in a state of confusion in my, say, late teens, early 20s. I had a girlfriend in my teens, but when I was single in my late teens, early 20s, I was just confused. And I realized I was actually going to have to, this was actually a skill in of itself, that is independent of your physical attractiveness and of your social status. It is a skill unto itself. And there's sort of various bits to it. Some guys do get it quite naturally, but those guys usually start very young, and they usually have really good access to attractive women at a young age for one reason or another. So those guys kind of get it in the way, like if you're brought up in Brazil, you play beach football, you're good at football by default, right? It's that kind of thing. But once I realized this is something, I could try different things, I could learn, this is where the development came. And for me, the biggest developments came in my mid to late 20s when I got around another group of guys who were just really fucking good. I had good experiences up to that point. I'd been in and out of the internet space, which I think is a rite of passage for guys these days. And I always found actually most of the guys online, I'd try their stuff, and I promise you, mostly it made me worse. It mostly made me worse. At the time, I didn't realize why, but the reason was either it was marketing, or it was marketing and it was bullshit, or it was real, but it was designed for actually genuinely low value guys. And so when a high value guy does that type of gamey bullshit, it actually makes him look really insecure. So I would drop that stuff quite quickly, because within a couple of weeks I'd go, no, I'm getting worse here. So what actually got me effective was being around other good guys. So let's discuss the topic of the live today, which is building an international lifestyle. If you're a guy, an international and a seductive lifestyle, if you're a guy who's professional, you've got it all together. You might be a business owner, you might be a multimillionaire, you might be a surgeon, you might be a programmer, you might be a creative, you might be a big influencer, and everyone looks at you like, oh, I'm sure this guy gets loads of girls, I'm sure he's crushing it. But for one reason or another, you're actually not happy with where you're at. You know, for guys in, let's say, Western guys, the market is pretty poor at the moment. You're paying way over the odds for quite a low caliber product. And so this is why I advocate the international lifestyle. There's a higher quality product for less demands and less investment, and actually less attractiveness on your part. You go to places like Serbia, come to the DR, there's pretty average guys with girls who would be considered stunners in Western Europe. And you see the Western Europe, you see Western European guys occasionally in cafes and stuff here. The girls, I just look at them, I'm like, what on earth? What on earth is going on here, right? It's crazy when you see it again. I've not seen it for a while. So the international travel really lets you know what is out there, and I think it gives you a better appreciation of where you stand. That doesn't mean, by the way, you just get freebies wherever you go. It's actually harder overseas. So just to burst that bubble, it's actually harder. It's easier in the UK and the US, but I think the quality is higher. So I'd rather fight for high quality than just going out in wherever, go out in Manchester and get some, decent girls, but it's not the premium that I'm looking for. So if you're that type of guy, you're successful, you've got it together, you realize the apps don't favor you. If you're under 6 foot or over 30, which most of us are, they don't favor you. You're basically discriminated against. What women think logically when they're selecting their fantasy avatar it's not even close to what they respond to in real life. I know this intimately from my club days. There's myself and my group. None of us were over 6 foot. My best friends were a guy from the Middle East. He was about 5'5". I'm 5'7". Another guy was about 5'10". Another guy was 5'11". The guy who was 5'11" he was from Colombia. He had a unusual looking face, let's say. And we all did very well. And frequently, we would actually be leaving with groups of girls that would come into this VIP. We'd be leaving with those girls to either an after party or to whatever. And the groups of guys, the big, strong, hench guys, stood around looking intense and nervous and competitive. They would just be drinking amongst themselves. And we would be having fun. And so the takeaway actually for me was the more fun you have, basically the more attractive you are, especially in nightlife. If you're the fun guy, no one can compete with it. No one. There is no competition because it's the emotional experience the girl's having. So anyway, that's just a side point. But if you find yourself in this kind of dating purgatory, this video is hopefully going to give you, not hopefully, it will give you, it will give you some tips. I think highly intelligent men struggle in this space because if you're a highly intelligent man, the likelihood is you have ended up in a job or have a business which is high cognition, high intellectual demand, high rational, and also in the modern world, you have to mind your P's and Q's in the professional world. You have to really politically think how you position yourself. Does this sound right? And all of that, whilst it may be great for your professional life and it's led you to a high level within society, it's given you a decent income, a decent standard of living, a respectable job, or even a really envious business, all of that shit, unfortunately, gets in your way when it comes to women. So if you're spending 40, 50, 60 hours of your week, maybe more, in this hyper-cognitive mode, and then you're going out and you're just wanting to just meet some babes, you're in the wrong frame of mind to begin with. So that's why a lot of guys who are highly intelligent, they end up in this space. It's not because they don't have the capacity, it's not because there's something wrong with them, it's just because day in, day out, they're spending 60 hours with their neurology in a certain place. And when they want to go and be more seductive, more bold, more provocative, making that switch, sometimes they don't even realize that's a switch they need to make. In fact, most of the time that's the issue. They don't realize we need to start to switch this up a little bit. We need to engage this other side, the primal side, the naughty side, the mischievous side, the deviant side. We want to start to engage that a little bit when we go after the girls. What else do we have here in the intro? Basically my role on this channel is I'm here to support you in your growth. The first thing I actually want to talk about, even before we get into the lifestyle stuff, I'll come into that in a moment, is, let's do the lifestyle stuff first, and then I'll come back to this other point I was going to make. So in terms of getting these guys results, the attractive guys, the guys who've got it all, this is my mission on this channel. I want premium guys to get premium results. Yeah, for me, I do not want to see a world in which consistently the drug dealers, the coke dealers, are outperforming the guys who, they've done everything right. They're actually pillars of society. They're what our society should be based on. The thugs and the drug dealers, they actually will always have their primal appeal that gets the old vaginal fluids wet for the girls, right? But I don't want those guys to be the peak of the market, because they're not. They're a variation, right? The peak of the market remains the guy who's got his shit together. So what I'm doing on this channel is actually helping you to basically take some of the stuff that makes the low life successful with women. We can just take some of that stuff and just put it into you, and express that in you. as a productive, high quality guy, then you've got the best of both worlds. Then you're the captain, but you're also the pirate as well. You're the CEO, but you're also the deviant criminal as well. So when you look at the archetype of the most attractive men in women's fantasies, think of like 50 Shades of Grey. What is he? He's the CEO / deviant sociopath kickboxing criminal. It's obviously taken to a ridiculous extent, but what I'm doing on this channel is just bringing some of that into your character, or just bringing it out of you a little bit, and in a practical way as well, not just talking theory on here. It's all practical. Everything I say here is practical. So let's talk first of all about building a lifestyle. The solution that I offer and the solution that I think is best for men, I thought about this a lot in 2026, is a cold approach driven lifestyle revolution. A cold approach driven lifestyle revolution. So you need cold approach. Why do you need cold approach, Joseph? You need cold approach because you're currently castrated. If you can't go over to women in the day, you are currently somewhat castrated. I'm not saying it needs to be anytime, any place, and it's the easiest thing ever, because that's just not fucking reality. I do this almost every day, and I know how much it varies, right, for me, as someone who's been doing it a long time. It varies according to your mood, your situation, the logistics of the place. Things can vary, but fundamentally I can do it. And I know the difference of how I felt before, when I just really felt like I actually can't fucking do this. Like the engine is revving, I want to go and approach this girl, but I can't fucking do it at all. Doesn't matter what the scenario is, I just couldn't do it in the daytime. Nighttime I felt that I had permission, but in the daytime I couldn't do it. And so that was an indicator to me that my social conditioning was still too high. My social conditioning was still too thick. There was that layer of society breathing down over me, right? Suppressing me. And that was something I wanted to fix. And once I did fix it, that's when actually this whole new world opened up to me. So now when I go to clubs, like I went to a few clubs on Sunday night, I now go mostly with girls that I met in daytime approach. For the most part, that's what I've been doing for the last few years. So there's a complete reversal of how I was living before. Before I'd meet the girls in the clubs, and then maybe I'd go for coffee with them in the day another time. Now it's a complete reversal. So what daytime approach is, it's the most aggressive form of self-development. It's the most aggressive form of self-development, which is why practically nobody does it. And yeah, there's a lot of people online who talk about women and dating and all this shit. Hold on, boys. Who have we got here? I think this is, I wonder if I can take this call while on the live. Let's see if we can do it. No, it doesn't work. That would have been perfect. That would have been perfect. That was a girl from Sunday night. But in any case, let's continue on. That probably wasn't very good for attention, but let's continue on. Where was I? Where was I then? Yeah, why this has to be cold approach driven. Why this has to be cold approach driven. My fucking channel is so unprofessional. It's a joke. It is a joke. It is an absolute joke. This is when you're a gonzo channel, this is the type of shit that happens. The girl rings you. You're about to talk about her. She rings you in the middle of the live. Well, just so many things happen. I went out today, I was hoping to do this live somewhere exciting, and everywhere I went there was some problem, there was noise, there was bad internet, just absolute bollocks. But in a sense, to be honest with you, that is partly how you can tell. In fact, it might be the main reason you can tell what I'm saying is real in these lives. Because coaches and so-called coaches who never show any infields, or so-called experts on women who just present this very sanitized view of how things actually work. And you can see this beautiful setup, beautiful, they have put so much effort into their channel. I know for a fact, they're not actually living the life. They're spending their time looking like they're living the life. Because that in of itself takes a very long time and a lot of effort to do. To look like you're living the life is as hard as to actually live the life. And they're unconnected. So if you're living a life and then you want to show that as well, so you need to look like you're living a life, that is just a lot of time. It just takes a shitload of time, basically. So the gonzo aspect of this channel is actually one of the biggest reasons it's actually fucking real. Because I'm out, you see me approaching girls in lives all the time. You see some of the grotty footage that comes in, but it's real footage, man. It's real footage. It's no bullshit. It's not fucking, just me sat here talking. And this is a differentiator. So in terms of building your lifestyle, cold approach is the first pillar in this. Very important first pillar for you boys. You need to learn it. I can teach you it. I would say cold approach and seduction in general, it's one of those things where it looks easy when you see a guy doing it well, but he may be doing things you're kind of not quite aware of some of the things he's doing, but it looks easy on the outside. That's very much what cold approach is, and seduction in general. The guys who are good, they do make it look easy, and it is quite easy. But what they're doing is they're taking the right steps at the right time, and they know exactly what they're doing. It's like you're trying to hammer a nail into the wall, right? Okay, but you've got a banana and it's going at an angle, right? So you could do that for 1,000 years. You could do 1,000 reps with that banana, with the nail going in at the side, and it's never going to go in. Or you could get the right angle, and you get the right tool, bang, one, and it's straight into the wall. That's exactly what cold approach is like. That's what seduction is. It's making the right move, yeah. And it's 10 things like that on the approach itself, and then it's probably another 10 things on the date itself. Simple things, but you either do them and it works, or you don't do them and something's missing, or you do the wrong things and you fuck yourself up. So that's why cold approach, this is why coaching is so beneficial from someone who's got a proven track record. I'll come on to that in a moment. So cold approach has to be the driver, yeah? Lifestyle revolution is the next part. Lifestyle revolution is the next part. And that is going to be individualized per guy. So if you're currently in a location you think is absolutely amazing, let's say you're in New York, or you're in Athens, or you're in San Domingo, quite frankly, you're in Belgrade. Even Manchester, I think, is a great location for this. If you're already in a good location, we can just tweak a few aspects of your lifestyle. If you're in a third tier city, somewhere like the UK, we need to do a bit more on your lifestyle. So there's a few things I advocate. First of all is creating your own kingdom. Create your own kingdom week to week. You've got your cafe, you've got your gym, you've got your dance class, you've got your boxing class. These places that you go week to week, you need to make that your kingdom, your social kingdom. It's very good for your social infrastructure, your own sense of confidence, your own sense of belonging, and your own sense of significance. If you kind of rise up the pecking order a little bit there as well, let's say in your gym you start taking a spin class, let's say that you do that, you're going to start to attract girls really easily through that process. So that will be something else there that you can bring in, is getting some status in your little mini kingdom. So when I had my club promotion, that definitely facilitated me meeting some attractive women. And I was on the scene in general, but the club promotion definitely helped that. Just because I had some status in it's relatively unimportant, right? A club night. But in the kingdom where girls are horny and drinking, that's one of the best places you could have status. I swear to God, I'd honestly, in terms of pulling women, I'd rather be the position I was in, club promoter of the largest Lion Club night in the northern UK. I'd rather be there than Prime Minister or President. You can't really do much as a president, can you, or Prime Minister? I'd actually rather be in that position. Bartenders have also got a good spot there. But you can generate this in other ways. It doesn't, if that's not your thing, don't force yourself. You can generate this in other ways. You can generate it at a chess club, with social infrastructure. And then I also do advocate travel, missions of high piracy, right? Crusades. This is what I also advocate as well. Going on some crusades, getting yourself out there. You're a European guy, man. We're born to do this, man. We're literally born to do it. You can put us 5, 10, 20 generations down the line, deep inside of all we're just a pillaging pirate that wants to go out into the high seas and look for tropical babes, or go down into the Balkans and just find whatever blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Slavic, divine goddesses we can come across. You know, wherever we go to the mountains of India and find the beautiful Dravidian girl and whisper away from her village. This is just what we do, right? This is what we do. So, yeah, obviously you could apply that to whoever, but travel missions and raids, I think, are very important for your health as a masculine guy. Going on a fucking rave, going to some raid, going to some new place, and just cracking into some of these girls. Even just seeing them, it gets your blood going, gets your blood pumping. It gets that, you can fucking smell it in the air, man. The electricity of this new DNA. Your sperm wants to get out there and start inseminating, yeah? Like Vasco da Gama or Columbus or fucking whoever. We've got Vlad, Genghis, goodness knows how many others over these are just the big ones, right? These are just the boys that did the big numbers. Never mind everybody else. And there's a reason why we've got 9 billion people on Earth, and like 30% of men reproduced in history. Yeah, if you're here, by definition, you are the product of this impulse to barbarity, right? And this is why I do. It also just broadens your horizons as well, lifestyle-wise. But that will give you a little taster. That will give you a little taster. I remember when I first went out to Lisbon, and I'd already lived overseas like a few different times before that. I lived in Spain. I've worked in France, and I was starting my own business back in the UK, and I was starting some remote business as well. I went out to Lisbon for a few days. This would be about 2017, and I go to a Kizomba night there. I got in on the Wednesday. I found a Kizomba night on the Thursday, called Barrio Latino, the place. And I've been learning Kizomba for a couple of years, and I wanted to go to, Lisbon is the best city in Europe for Kizomba. It's where by far the best dancers are, by miles. Because there's a big connection to Angola and Cape Verde as well. And so that mixes in with the Portuguese are also very good as well. So I go to this night, dancing, you know, a few girls. I danced with one of the teachers, and I was happy with myself because I'd been learning for a couple of years, and I was like, I can actually hold my own. And these are demanding girls as well. I can actually hold my own now. I'm really happy with this. And then in walks this one girl. She's got denims on, she's got plimsolls, and just this black top. I'm looking at her going, she's African girl, very, very slim, petite, just a really nice kind of open face. I just really liked her face. Angolan girls have got quite angular features on their, particularly angular features on their cheeks. And as soon as I saw her, I thought, I just felt something then. I don't know what it was, but I just felt something. And then maybe 20 minutes later, when she's free, I could already see she was a good dancer. When she's free, I just took her, and within 0.3 seconds, I was like, I'm literally that short amount of time. As soon as I got contact with her and she was in here with me, I was like, whoa, this is a fit. It's like the lock just goes straight into the key. Her body just fit into mine perfectly. The way she held as well. There's some girls who, a lot of African girls, not exclusive to them, but a lot of African girls, they really know how to actually be held in a dance like Kizomba. Not all of them, but if they're Angolan, they know, because that's where the dance is from. So she really knew how to be held. And actually, as a woman, you have to throw yourself into it. You have to maintain balance, but throw yourself into it. You can't be kind of like half in, a little bit stiff. You have to be in with the guy. It's the most sensual dance in the world. And as soon as we were pressed, I was like, that's it, that's done, it's done. I danced with her for like 30 minutes, the first dance, and which is the normal would be like, if she's amazingly good, I dance with her for 3 songs, which would be 9 minutes. I danced with her for like 10 songs on the first dance. And eventually I had to break away. This is ridiculous, bro. and then go back to her later on in the night, and then we spend about like an hour. I leave that club at 6 a.m. and when it's basically closing, maybe 6:30 a.m. it's closing. We've been dancing together the whole night, and Kizomba is such a hypnotic dance. It's the only dance. It is the only dance that will put you into an utter trance, like a total trance, physically, emotionally, mentally. I'm in a total trance with this girl. Your eyes are like that type of feeling, like just this weird, loose but alive feeling, right? And then yeah, I get home and I'm like, fuck me, I ain't getting a dance like that ever in the UK. That's insane. Go meet her a couple of days later. Another dance. She actually, when I went to kiss her later on in the night, she wasn't that, like, it was weird because I was like, this should be an easy pull, but it wasn't that easy. But anyways, but I pulled her anyway. It took a couple of attempts. I was like, strange. She backed off at first, but I was like, whatever. And then I went out again and we started to date for about 6 months. Whenever I was out there, I had this amazing dancer girl, right, from Angola. She showed me all these places. I've been to clubs in Lisbon that nobody even knows about. They're underground Kizomba clubs. Like, basically, it's just Angolan people there. They don't even officially even exist. And that was like an example of a raid. Like a raid. You get yourself out there and you have a fucking raid in a different country. I've had similar experiences as well. I won't indulge all these different things I've had, but similar experiences in different places. That's one really stands out for me though. So yeah, once you start to travel, boys, you will get some experiences like this. A few of my students last summer had some experiences out in Serbia, and that sort of whets the appetite. From there, then I usually would say, if you've got places you like or places you want to go to, I think it needs to be built into your lifestyle. It needs to be planned. You need to be out 1, 2, 3. I'd say aiming for 3 trips a year, minimum 3 trips a year. So you do need a little bit of cash for this. If you're struggling to get to the end of the month, this isn't the channel for you, and this is just not really the place for you, to be honest. You can still get a girlfriend, but this type of lifestyle is not for you. And if you're able to travel year round like me, that's when you can really just, you can just go. I mean, some of the experiences you can have are just fucking insane. Because, yeah, I have like a friend, he's pulled girls in like Red Square, Moscow, just like all these crazy romantic things. I've done similar things as well. Last year, I remember just a girl I pulled in front of St. Sabas Cathedral in Serbia. Fucking crazy experience, man. Like a balmy summer's night, the electric night of Serbia. Others like dancing with a girl in front of us here in Santo Domingo. So you have all these amazing experiences, and that does something to you. Over time, people say things to you like, there's something about you. That's what happens. People say, some girls will say it, guys will say it, it's like, there's something about you. That experience you just carry in your presence. And once you start to have some of these experiences, that's been seasoned basically. So yeah, so the international lifestyle is a part of it. And then the last ingredient is brotherhood. Fraternidad, brata, yeah? The brotherhood. Other guys as well to connect into. That is your lifestyle. I won't go into that too much in this live. I'll talk about that a bit more in a different live. But that's the overall lifestyle package that you want. Cold approach skills, international lifestyle, and brotherhood. If you got those 3 things, you're bulletproof. And if you're missing any one of them, you do have, like, if you got brotherhood plus international lifestyle, but you can't approach, you're fucked. You're just a spectator. If you can approach and you've got a good brotherhood, then you can do well in your own city, and that's probably enough for most guys. So those are probably the 2 most important ones. But if you want to really push the boat and really be an explorer and really see what is out there, you need those international options as well. Without the brotherhood, it can get cold approach. Daytime cold approach is just way too mentally draining to do alone over a long period of time. And I say this as a guy who does this almost every day. I'm calling it microdosing cold approach at the moment. I don't do big sessions much anymore because I just don't have time and I don't need to. So I just basically do micro doses where I just do one to three approaches per day, mostly as a kind of exploratory approach, occasionally with real venom where I'm like, nah, I need this girl, I want this girl. Occasionally girls like that. But yeah, micro dose these days, my approaches. And it's actually working really well, particularly here in Santiago. Doing a big session is just impossible. It's just not possible. I think if I was with a friend and I had the social proof to utterly throw caution to the wind that I didn't mind being stopped by security guards, which would happen, I think I probably could do maybe 1 or 2 sessions of 10, but even with a wing, I think we'd burn out after a few weeks. So what I'm doing here is just micro dosing every day, 1, 2, 3 approaches. If I didn't have my mastermind guys to check in with, I just would not be able to be as consistent. No way. It just wouldn't be possible. It's not possible, to be honest. Especially if you're a social guy, if you're a team type of guy, you're not going to want to go alone forever. You know, you can have your period of doing that, but ultimately you need that backup. And ideally you want to have guys in the same city as you, guys who've got international travel capacity. And so that's what I'm building up to on this channel. It's the BRATBA, the international brotherhood of guys who've got the international lifestyle. They're cool guys and they've got cold approach skills as well. This is what I'm building towards, right? So if this is a package you're interested in, at the moment, I'm not offering any calls at the moment, but go to my website and drop me an email and fill in the questions that I ask you to answer on that email. We can arrange a call for March. I've got other business commitments at the moment, but in March I'll be taking calls again. So go and fill that out, and we can be in touch if you think you fit that criteria. So let's get into some fun stuff now. Let's get into some fun stuff. I'll be doing lives throughout March. A lot of these lives are just absolute banter lives. What did I want to talk about now? I wanted to talk about receipts. I'll do a specific live on this, but I just wanted to briefly talk about receipts. I'll do a specific live on this, but boys, receipts. If you're going to go and take advice from somebody in the field of relationships and dating, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, that person should have some credibility beyond I've got a camera and I can go on the internet and talk. Yeah, all of these red pill guys, one of the main things you'll notice about them is they never show themselves interacting with women. They never show the women they're dating. So for all we know, they never interact with women, or they don't even interact with attractive women. We don't know, right? Come on with conviction, and they put a lot of effort into content, but that does not correlate actually with skill and ability and knowledge. There's no correlation between the two. Some of the guys I can look at, and I can look at him for 1 minute and go, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I can see it in his face. Never mind listening to the garbage that he's spouting. I can just see it in his face. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, and there are guys out there who do know what they're talking about. And interestingly, most of those guys are showing receipts. So I'm 40 years old. My stories probably, well, they're all true. So I would imagine, sound realistic. And yet, even with that, I still make a point of going out into the street and doing infields. So just last week, you can literally see me on an instant date, first person point of view with the Meta glasses on, then other little shots with the Samsung as well. And you can literally see me go from meeting a girl to taking her on an instant date to literally pulling her in a club, and then she's grinding me up and stuff outside the club, right? So you can literally watch me go from 0 to snogging a girl. Yeah, the kiss is there on camera, infield, yeah? So this is what I'm saying, and obviously this is just one episode, right? But I can't capture all of the years of my life of doing this stuff. Most of the time, obviously, I wasn't even interested in being on the internet. But you should be able to show some receipts. I'll link the infield from Sunday below, because it's a great example of an instant date. I also do a breakdown of it as well. So if you guys want to learn more about how to actually run an instant date, go and check out that link below. Maybe just watch the rest of this live first, but go and check out that link below. And you see, this is a receipt. I'm not just talking about it. I am snogging the girl right in front of you on camera, okay? I've got the phone up in the air like that, right? The girl was like, we were just having a wild time, like she didn't give a shit. So, yeah, but my point is, receipts are important in this space. This is why even on my lives, when I go out, this is why I wanted to do live outside today. Even on my lives, I will at least interact with women. In an ideal world, I would stream a live and I would walk out into the stream. I just have a guy following me streaming and I would just start macking with a microphone on. That would be my ideal form of live. In my ideal world, every single video on this channel would have an infield, every single one. Okay. I do what I can at the moment. Okay, and there's more than enough input in there for you to already see, okay, this guy can cold approach, he can nighttime approach, he can seduce girls, he's literally pulling girls in front of us, okay? So, and you can see me dancing and stuff as well in some of these videos, right? So you should have receipts, and you should not, in my opinion, be taking advice from guys that show no receipts at all. And it's really obvious to someone who knows what they're doing, it's just like, this is just bullshit, yeah? So, yeah, it's important, and it's not that difficult to go out. As I say, my channel is, I have another business that I work on. My channel is a real passion thing, and this is going to grow because I am one pillar in this edifice that's being built online to reignite and re-empower men because so much information has been lost. Information didn't get passed down to our, parents and so on. A lot of it was like deliberately obfuscated from us. So there's a lot of knowledge that's been lost, and it was very hard fought for me to gain it all back. And so I was sharing with you boys, you've got 25 years of game coming through in these lives. Anything else we've got here? Yeah, there's stuff on wife requirements. I'll come back actually. I'll do that in a different live. Yeah, I've got plenty of ideas, but I want to burn through them all today. So that was just a little bit of just a reconnection for you boys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have you got any comments? I think it's, I can't actually, again, the ghetto-ness of this. All right, so I've got 3 phones. This is my best phone. I've got another phone inside, and this is actually my shittest phone that I do these lives in. It's a Samsung. The reason I take this out is because I'm in the international lifestyle. I'm out all the time, everywhere. And if you get your phone robbed, or you lose it or break it, your phone is now a verification device. So when that happened to me in Brazil, I lost access to all my bank accounts, my crypto, even my email, I lost access to. I was essentially fucked. Yeah, I'm like going into Skype and calling people on Skype, right? So now my decent phones, they just stay in the house as verification devices. And the worst phone is the one I take out to do the lives. So the reason I'm saying that is because I can't even, it's so battered, this thing. I don't think the screen's even sensitive enough. I can't even check if anyone said anything. So if you're making comments, the reason I'm not responding is because I can't even see if there is anyone talking. Feel free, boys, to suggest topics that you'd be interested in learning more about, particularly if they're more high-level topics. Really, this channel is really an elite level channel. It's not really for beginners, to be honest. It's not really for guys who've never had a girlfriend. Obviously, I have clients like that, but they're in exceptional circumstances. They're guys like Ethan, who is Asperger's syndrome, who's actually a brilliant guy. He had a different reason, okay, as a different case. And he'd actually put a lot of work into himself in the gym, on his fashion, and he'd done a massive amount of approach as well. He'd really worked on his approach. So when he came to me, I was able to give him the finishing touches and make some adjustments with him and support him, so he was able to go on and get his goal of his first actual lay of his life at 37 years old, which is a great achievement. And it's just like a massive milestone as a man. He got across that line with me. In general, though, my channel is really for guys who are already quite experienced and they want to take it to the next level. They know they've got more in the locker. They know they're not really fulfilling their potential at the moment. That is who this channel is for. And yeah, I also have a soft spot for the autistic guys, because I think I just like the way their minds work. I just find them interesting to talk to. I've had a couple of autistic clients and even a few calls as well with guys who I've not actually worked with, maybe won't work with, but I actually enjoy speaking to guys like that. I just find their minds interesting. But yeah, if you're that successful guy who just confused in this new space, rest assured there are solutions out there. The highest tier package I have is actually is basically where we do a full live-in wingmanship. That'll be on offer from September. So that's something I'm excited to offer next year, because I think the value of that is, for the right guy, is kind of unbelievable. Because I know what I can get out of guys. I know the transformations I can get just within 3 days with the right guys. Give me a month and mate, you will be absolutely lethal. And one of the biggest aspects of my service, it is the camaraderie, it is the companionship alongside this journey alongside the knowledge and the specialist knowledge of approach and seduction. You need the two. I don't think I'll be much of a coach if I just barked orders at people, told them the right information, and just didn't have that spirit of brotherhood that I approach this with. I don't think I'll be much of a coach, to be honest. I don't think people would get the results they've been getting. I do approach this in a spirit of fraternity, because I want to see the right guys doing well. I see it as doing God's work, to be honest with you, nature's work. So that package is an offer from September. So yeah, guys who are on, maybe you've sold your company, or you just retired off a big, a big trade or something like that. If that's you and you're looking for the next stage, you're looking to recruit wifey and have some fun along the way, we can get in touch about that, because that package for the right guy will be unbelievable. It will be a before and after in the guy's life for sure. So boys, we'll leave things there. Am I actually going to be able to close this live? This happened to me the other day when my phone froze. Are we actually going to be able to close it? Yes, I'm going to be able to close it now. So boys, I'll catch you in the next one. I've got lots of topics for you guys coming up, really a lot. So when I get back into this in March, I'm going to be fucking steamrolling some topics out for you boys, because there's a lot to talk about, man. The central question of our times is the relationship between men and women. Yeah, I offer you practical solutions, but there's all sorts of different things in the background that need discussing and are interesting to discuss. So yeah, we've got we've got a lot to come in March, boys. So I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.